Hey everyone, in today's video I'm sharing a fun project my daughter and I did together. We decided to create our own vintage inspired art using frames we got at the thrift store, some acrylic paint and a little inspiration. Vintage framed art is quite popular amongst interior designers and decorating enthusiasts. Classical and simple in nature, they allow us to appreciate the beauty and history of past eras. My favorite pieces feature beautiful pastoral scenes and capture the simple moments of everyday life. I have been collecting frames at the thrift store over the last few months with this project in mind. I was particularly looking for smaller sized frames with some ornate details and in different shapes. I'm getting started with these 5 frames. I got these buy one get one at the thrift store. Sometimes it's hard to see something like this looking anything other than what it looks like now. But in choosing the frame, you want to just focus on the details, not the color and not what's in it. These are not authentic vintage frames. These are considered modern made, but it certainly has those ornate details I was looking for. I'm getting ready to refinish these frames. My first layer is a coat of matte black spray paint, and by the end of this project we completed 8 different frames. And let me just say here, we are not artists, nor can this compare to anything professionally done. We just wanted to share with you a fun project and our attempt at DIY art on a budget. If you enjoy a good DIY, then make sure you watch all the way to the end for a fun surprise. And this is the point where I say, trust the process. I know this looks like they have just come out of a fire, but the reason I did black first was so that I had dark crevices and shadows. I'm using rub and buff on all the frames in this project, and I will be adding varying tones of gold. In fact, I'm using 5 or 6 different gold colors, and I will put the text on the screen just so you know in case you want to try this yourself. I didn't really know what colors I was going to end up with. I just kind of figured it out as I went. I first started with a bit of autumn gold and felt it looked a little too reddish, so I ended up mixing in some of that antique gold and lightly spreading that on the entire frame. Rub and Buff is actually a lightweight metallic wax that is oil based, so don't expect to be able to wash this off with water. I always keep a stash of little brushes. I pick up packs of them for cheap and just toss it after I use it. The thing about using black first is you can easily manipulate how much you would like to cover, or should I say how gold you would like it to be. For these 2 frames, I wanted a tiny bit of that black in the creases and then most of it covered with that gold mix. Now I'm gonna add some of this Grecian gold on the highlighted areas. Very subtle differences, but it does make a difference in the overall result. Now for the next 2 frames, I'm applying the same mix, but I'm leaving a bit more of that black peeping through, and then I'm doing the highlights using gold leaf. For this frame, I'm just adding a little bit of ebony or black to the gold leaf I have remaining here, and I'm brushing it on very lightly with longer strokes. That way I'm not getting into the creases as much. Then I'm going to add some antique gold around the inner part of the frame. Now let's get into doing some of the actual art before coming back to the other 3 frames. We're using some acrylic paints we had left over from our last project. I got some textured paper here. These are handmade with Egyptian cotton. I don't like glass on any of my art, and in particular vintage art is quite often done with oil paint and has no glass. So this textured paper will do just that, give it some texture and closely resemble a vintage piece. Then I also got some thin canvas boards in different sizes. These are 3mm, so thin enough to fit into a regular frame. If you can remember, I discovered how well my daughter paints when I was redecorating my dining area last fall. I had this canvas laying around for years and just casually challenged her to paint something. Now she is a fashion student and not into fine art, so these are not with too much detailing. It's quite simple blending, and I'm hoping this gives you some inspiration to go ahead and try doing some of this yourself. Me included. The 2 smaller ones are going to be portrait and the 2 bigger ones landscape. Here I'm just putting together some flowers in this brass jug I thrifted a few months ago, and then she's going to take a picture of it and use that as inspiration.
Dancing while the spring's still here. They don't make haste cause they know what's coming. We try to wash away our broken years, but it's so hard in the cold summer. They're slowing down to get their sleep. They've had enough bringing life to others. But I still don't know what else to seek but your smile in the morning hours.
These are 2 iron frames I also got at the thrift store. I'm going to brighten this one up slightly with the gold leaf. This one here has a blue matting, which is actually plastic. I'm using some brass colored spray paint as the first layer and then using the gold leaf on all the metal areas.
I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. I'm trying to make this darkness go away. I'll paint with colors and I'll sing until my lungs give out. I'm gonna let the sun shine in today. And I will leave my windows open so that I can hear the sound of people talking and the wind blowing in the trees. Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can see the light. Try to spread my wings so I can fly. Oh, and the darkness starts to fill like things are gonna go my way. I'm gonna let the sun shine in the day. I'm gonna let the past be filled with smoke.
I recently shared with you my entryway makeover, and I did refinish this little frame then, but didn't have any art for it. I did a blend of Spanish copper and ebony, and then today I added a little bit of that gold leaf. Thank you guys so much for spending some time with us today. Are you excited to see how these all turned out? Make sure you watch all the way to the end because one of you will be getting one of these.